With pleasure now, it's time to get my next special guest on. We have Fergus, and Fergus, well, you have been around the last couple of years or so. I've been meaning to get you on the show for a while now, but you are finally here. And what I'm going to say is welcome on board to the Danielson syndicated shows.
Hi, thank you very much for having me, Danny.
And that is my pleasure. We're here to talk about your long-anticipated new album, Upside Down, which has finally been released and arrived.
Yes, I love Upside Down. It's been a long time in the making, and I think we've been building up towards releasing an album for a few years now. So it's really, really good to have it out and have people able to listen to it.
I'm pleased to hear that. And you had a successful album launch in Camden Town early this month, tail end of May, kind of the Queen's Jubilee weekend. Which I was lucky enough to have an invite. Thank you so much for having me and my friend and as a guest. How did it go for you? It was very successful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was as successful as it could have been. I think we just felt really happy to be playing this one, and it was just really celebratory, and had a lot of people who'd worked very closely on the project there, and their friends, and some of my friends and my family and their friends. So it just felt really, really nice, and I think we just really enjoyed it, and then had a bit of a little party afterwards, which was really nice.
And the venue, quite intimate venue. What did you like about playing kind of intimate venues, being close up to your music fans?
I think sometimes it's more intense, and usually it makes us have to strip back the sound a bit, which can be nice. For this one, we went pretty kind of loud and proud, which I think maybe was slightly too loud, but that's what these tests are for. So I think it's a brand new venue, and the guys who run it are really nice, and we thought we'd do it there just because there was a great opportunity to get in there, and it was a really nice size with great food and drinks and really nice staff, and I think it was just perfect for this particular event.
Great. And you work with, I know you're a solo artist, but you also work within a band when you're performing. And on this album, who did you also have the privilege of working with too? So
I play with two guys, Mike and Jacob. Pretty much always. I did have a solo show recently, which was the first one in 2 years, over 2 years. And in terms of production, we worked with Jake Gosling, who's been my producer and record label boss for since the beginning in 2017. And we also worked with Patch Bushell, who's an up-and-coming producer, on 3 of the tracks, and then also with Matthew Brettel, who's Jake's kind of in-house engineer. Me and him produced one of the songs, Fight Forever, as well. So it was cool to kind of open up a bit and explore different ways of producing them. The ones we did with Patch Bushell, we recorded in Moloko Studios, which is a much bigger and dare I say more comfy, nice place with a nice coffee machine and stuff. And we did a lot more of a live instrument kind of sound, with live drums and live guitars, and everything was live. Whereas with Jake, typically we've been more sample based, and that really works for some of the tracks, and some of them wanted to try something else. So I think we kind of bridged that kind of spectrum of totally live to more kind of sample based recording in this project.
And I read that this album, Upside Down, you recorded the majority of it during lockdown. Do you consider this to have worked in your favour, having more time on your hands to be more creative?
I think, it's kind of weird. It's like there was obviously more time, but then it was harder to have the time to kind of together to record. So I think it ended up being pretty much the same. Obviously, the timeline for the album was massively stretched out. So there was, a couple of these tracks that we started recording in 2020, we had a long time to live with, and that did affect coming back to them with older ears to change a lot of things. So that I did really like that, because I think it helped the album become just that little bit more cohesive, because of the amount of time between the first song we started recording and the last song we finished was probably like 18 months. So I think there was quite a big difference in just the way they sounded. So I think it was more just, I guess, on those early songs, it kind of took the pressure off, because we didn't know how long the lockdowns were going to go on for, and so it was kind of nice, and just seemed more like the earlier days where we weren't really working towards anything. We were just recording songs, and then certainly towards the end of the album recording, it got a lot more stressful, because we were like, oh my god, the deadline's coming up, so finished 2 songs. It was very different, and I think it's reflected in those particular songs, which were Tripping Over My Feet, All I Dream, and More Than I Deserve, were the ones that were in lockdown, because we were allowed to travel for work, obviously, eventually, but it was still lockdown. I think that. And
the track called Flatline, although it's very downbeat, it's a standout track on the album. I played it quite a few times on my late night show.
It's Flatline's weird, because when we've been playing it live before, we weren't playing to click or anything, and when for the album show, we wanted to kind of play pretty much everything to click, and use some bass tracks just to beef it up, and it turned out we were playing Flatline really slow. It's actually quite fast, but it's just got that kind of chilled vibe to it, and Flatline's one of my favorite ones, I think, because it's got just a kind of slightly jazzy dance, and kind of waltzy lightness to it, and then obviously then the kind of chorus is a bit angsty, and it has that contrast.
And a few people have mentioned you have a distinctive voice. This is a good thing to stand out from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, I think it certainly helps. It's always the first thing people notice, and I think if they like it, then hopefully they stick around and then listen to the songs and come back for the future ones, because I think pretty much everything that I consider is to be quite unique about the music, the sound, the way I write, and it's all reflected in the way we produce them, and with the vocals on top. So hopefully it is a memorable thing that eventually will be impossible to ignore.
And it's so useful to have your own identity and style. Just reading some of the reviews, you've had some really good reviews from music magazines. And one comparison maybe to Crowded House.
Just which one's that? I haven't.
Yeah, I come across one of the reviews actually, and I'll let you know which one after. That's.
No, I think the comparisons are obviously very flattering, and it's not something I can do myself, because I don't know. I'm too in it. I don't know what it sounds like. I'm not trying to make it sound like anything. But it is interesting, because then when you hear something like that, you're like, oh, okay, maybe there's a little flavour of something there. Maybe like acoustic. Quite a lot of this album has acoustic guitar in it, which wasn't often the case actually in the earlier stuff. Maybe
it's intriguing how it's intriguing how people make comparisons to artists to another artist as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because there'll be it could be one specific aspect, which usually is, or just one song. I think The Brink is one that a couple of people said that it reminds them of like a Radiohead kind of thing, and and I think it's just all of them are they're all slightly different.
Just wrapping up now, and is there any special people you'd like to give a mention to?
Well, I think just all my team who've worked so hard on this. So I'm being attacked by my dog at the moment. my team and Jake and Patch and Matt who produce these songs, and Jacob and Mike who play them with me, and they've been playing with me for since late 2018, and we navigated this lockdown together, the three of us, trying to play live streams, and then gigs came back, and it was all acoustic, so we went completely acoustic for a bit, and they've really stuck with me, and I'm grateful for their friendship as well, and yeah, Heart Media for setting up all these interviews, and
brilliant.
They're really really doing a great job.
And you've got an official website as well, intofergus.com.
Yes, yeah, intofergus.com. If you're into the Fergus, the music, then that's where you find it, and it's the same as all my social media tags. It's at intofergus as well.
Well, thanks very much for your time today. We're going to get one of your tracks on the show, and best of luck with your new album, which I'll have listened to, and very recommend it. Good listen.
Thank you.